They were about that close together.
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. We'll call ourselves to order. And if you'll rise and join me in a moment of silence. Do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. I am here. Bishop O'Neill.
Present.
Mr. Heater.
Present.
Mrs. Bales. Present. Mrs. Barden-Scriffin.
Present.
I can see myself in your mask.
I want them to be able to see me.
Mr. Irvin.
Present.
Mr. Lowe.
Present.
Okay. We are going, our recognition is running a few moments behind, so we are going to go directly to CEO comments, and we will come back to recognition once she arrives.
That sounds great. Thank you for that. Well, I just wanted to give an update about our schools and just to commend all of our school principals and all of our teachers and staff. We really have a great start to our school year. We have, with the pandemic that's going on and the challenges with that, we have folks working hard, and students are excited to be in school, and they're doing well. I have to give a shout out to Chuck for taking the reins with our virtual learning program. He has just been fantastic. We've had our challenges with it, and there isn't anyone better to take a challenge and to get it figured out, and we're on track and we're making great progress. It's been difficult because that program continues to grow. Even today, we had students coming in when we're excited. We want to accept as many kids to Muncie Community Schools as possible. So we accept all of them, but then that just, we keep having the classes get larger and larger, and then we have to look at taking some teachers that are in our traditional schools and moving them to our virtual program. And that's always hard on any school culture. But all of our teachers have just been remarkable when they've been asked if they would be willing to do that. And, I've just been very, very excited for that. The last that I want to report on is that we did receive one of the governor's GEARS grants for $363,000, which we will be using that to purchase the hotspots, which we used it to purchase hotspots, and also more devices. And so that is helpful. What our strategy is for things that we need, we write it in all sorts of different grants. And when we receive it, then it allows us to use a different grant for some other purposes. And so we always are trying to find ways to write for as many grants as possible. So with that, Jim, I think we're ready now for going back to our recognition.
Okay. If you'll,
yes. Is Callie here? Can you please have Callie come in? And we may have some other guests too.
Oh, wow.
Yes, come on up to the front.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Doing well.
Good. I'm pleased to be here. My name is Kelly Schrock, and I'm the president of your community foundation here in Muncie and Delaware County. And it is my honor to present the David Sursa Leadership Award for this year to your board chair, Jim Williams. you'll permit me a few additional comments. The David Sursa Leadership Award was established in memory of the Community Foundation's first leader. As founding president, David Sursa blazed the trail for the Community Foundation. His visionary leadership contributed significantly to the success of the foundation and to the generous support it has provided our community. The annual program rewards, recognizes, and encourages extraordinary nonprofit leadership by a board member, displaying the characteristics and commitment to community expressed by Mr. Sursa during his lifetime. Jim helped blaze a new trail as Muncie Community Schools Board President since 2018, shortly after the partnership between Muncie Community Schools and Ball State University began. Jim was nominated by both Muncie Community Schools CEO, Dr. Leanne Kwiatkowski, and Ball State University President, Jeffrey Mearns, for his visionary leadership. His nominator shared that Jim serves as a champion for Muncie Community Schools by sharing positive stories about the schools, teachers, and the students here. In accepting the role on the board, Jim also realized that the development of financial and human resources would be an essential responsibility that he could not shy away from. He stepped up, and under his leadership, Muncie Community Schools received $5.2 million in pledges and grants to support their work toward their mission. In his nomination, Dr. Kwiatkowski shared that, quote, Mr. Williams orchestrates ongoing communications with skill, courage, civility, and compassion towards all. Through Jim's willingness to take charge and lead, our community, school faculty, and the board merged as a united team, incorporating strong collaboration and mutual trust. In addition to his role on the Muncie Community School Board, Jim has a history of serving programs that benefit young people. He serves as chairperson for By5 Board of Directors. He handled juvenile cases and developed education programs for children in Union County as a circuit court judge from 1998 to 2008. He has volunteered with area youth, teaching vocabulary to first graders and educating high school students about business law. He has also served on boards for the Ball State University Foundation and Habitat for Humanity. Jim is very deserving of this recognition. In addition to this award and certificate, which I will display momentarily, the Community Foundation of Muncie and Delaware County will award $1,000 grant to Muncie Community Schools in commemoration of this award. Congratulations.
I'm speechless.
May I approach?
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Chairman?
Absolutely, absolutely, Council. I appreciate that.
Certificate in here. This is the grant check.
Okay.
This. Very well. I know, I don't know that we're supposed to do that, but I'm supposed to get a picture, but I think.
Yes.
I
would love to get
taking
one.
care of that.
Great, thank you.
Honor to be able to get this.
Why, I thought we were recognizing someone in Cali. I'm not singing too well right now. I'm singing, I thought it looks a lot like it.
Jennifer.
Hey, it's not her. Well, thank you so much.
Our pleasure.
It's humbling. A person I admire a great deal, I think, received this a year or two ago. Was that Pat? And so I think of Pat often. And Pat's commitment to people and families and children. And I don't know. I mean, I think I often feel inadequate in what I'm doing, but as we face the challenges of trying to provide a first-rate education, I would thank every member of this board who is wonderful and works pulling just as hard. President Mearns, Provost Rivera-Mills. Provost Rivera-Mills, I miss immensely our meetings on Friday. Dr. Kwiatkowski, I just couldn't ask for a more blessed group of people to be with. So to the extent any of what Kelly said is accurate, there's a lot of folks who make it all very, very rewarding and in many ways easy in spite of the challenges that we face. So thank you. And it is deeply appreciated, and I will endeavor to continue to try and live up to the example that Mr. Sursa set and that others who've received this award have exemplified in our community and certainly in Pat's memory. So thank you all. Thank you, President Mearns. I know that you have a lot going on, and you're free to stay and watch business be done, but.
Congratulations. Certainly well deserved. Honor along with me.
Thank you both very much for your thoughtfulness. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay.
Should you introduce Jennifer and Sam?
That would be a responsible thing to do. I didn't think it was Jennifer, and I wasn't even sure up until I saw Sam. So my wife, Jennifer Williams, who is incredibly supportive and has not been out of the house more than a couple times since COVID. So having her here is remarkable. And Sam, who's back with us doing classes online at IU and finishing up. So they are wonderful to be with. And I was telling Leanne on a funny note that having Sam around is just a constant hoot. Last night, the door opened and Sam got up from watching TV and came back with a large blizzard, s'more blizzard from Dairy Queen. I said, "What the heck is that? Who delivers those?" DoorDash. Apparently you can get a blizzard brought to your house now. And so he tempted me with that. And I then got up and said, I need to go to the store to get some whipped cream. And Sam understood that was a ruse. But Jennifer said, "Oh, I'll go to the store with you." So I did not get my blizzard. But yeah, so thank you guys for coming out. You don't have to stay unless you want to watch. I appreciate your candor, Sam. Okay. We'll get back on schedule here.
Yes.
Beth.
Beth Kraler with the Muncie Public Library. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Williams, on your award.
Thank you.
I'm here to make several announcements. One, Great Achievers, a 21st Century Community Learning Center after-school program started their day yesterday. We currently have 14 students registered. We can have more, but we're starting out small because we're also still looking for 3 teacher aides. So if you know, spread the word. Muncie Public Library, though, we aim to provide good, excellent service and to keep our community safe, just as everyone is in this strange times. With that in mind, we've been providing virtual programming, MPL to go, which means people can check out their items and we'll check them out and deliver them to their car, and PC Express, which they can schedule an appointment to use the computers. However, starting on Tuesday, September 8th, we will begin inviting the public into the building between 1 and 5. They'll find a lot of things change because we'll have limited seating. All of our nice cushy chairs are gone. They're in storage. We will not have a public meeting room because that's where we're storing everything. And they will be because computers are spaced apart, one per table, so people can't congregate, social distancing. Marion Hunt, Kennedy, and Connection Corner, they ask that the public limit their time to 1 hour. But we are not going to have a stopwatch, but we'll be, hey, can we help you, urging them along. Carnegie Library will be by appointment only. That's our local history and genealogy for research. Those entering the library will have to wear a mask, and we'll be urging people to social distance, meaning 6 feet apart. And because of that social distancing, we will be saying that the school or the kids cannot depend on the library to take care of their children after school, until they can pick them up or, whatever. So they will have to make other arrangements. Children under 13 will also have to be accompanied by an adult. Now that's our grand opening, so we will be opening on September 8th, barring any changes from the governor.
Any questions for Beth? I have one in a moment, but anybody else have any questions?
Right, Carnegie, the cards we unveiled it at a preview at the Muncie on the Move. That was written, edited, filmed, everything in-house by staff at the library with our material. And you can watch it online. Take the time.
So Beth, one of the issues that's becoming clear to all of us with the challenges this year is with the virtual program. We have a significant number of its students who are enrolled in that program who, in order to mitigate falling further behind, are going to need, in my view, in our view, opportunities for tutoring in some various locations around the city. So I'm not asking for an answer tonight, but to give some thought as we continue to work our way through the next several months. One of our thoughts was to use the building at the MAC, perhaps this building, and perhaps the libraries for tutoring space. But I don't know with the governor's and the state situation, Department of Health, but if you would at least be willing to consider inquiries from Leanne and Chuck as we work through this, because we've got about 1,400 students in virtual programs, and some of those kiddos are desperately going to need additional assistance that they're not going to receive or able to receive at home for any variety of reasons. So please give that some thought and then be prepared at least to have those conversations moving forward.
Well, I can tell you some of the students might already be in our Ready Readers program. They have 40 students signed up, in which it will be done entirely online, either using Zoom or FaceTime for their tutoring and literacy. We had done that when we had to shut down before. As far as the rest of your questions, since the library director is here, Kiwa Nasak here, I'm going to have to turn that over to her to answer.
Congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
award
Thank
again.
you.
And hello, everyone. It's been a while since I've been to one of your meetings. Really nice digs here. Nice. I really like this new space. But in terms of using the library to provide tutoring space, is that what you're saying?
Well,
Not expert
it is.
tutoring
It's
space?
very early in this process, but
Okay.
Dr. Kwiatkowski and I have discussed, and the board, I think, is aware of the challenges that we're going to face with virtual education
Right.
as that's developing. We
So
would
you're
be,
not real clear right now?
yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
We'll be looking to recruit a cadre of tutors from the community who would then be in a position to provide more individualized assistance to those students who are in the virtual program who will need assistance with their lessons. Now that, again, it's in its very early stages, so I guess all I'm asking this evening is that the library be open to those conversations with Dr. Kay and Dr. Reynolds as we give that shape.
Yes, we are open to that conversation because
Okay.
we're all invested in our children and we'll do what we can, and that will allow us to take care of our them.
Okay,
We'll do
I
that.
appreciate it. Thank
Thank
you. Any additional questions? Okay, thank you. The consent agenda, want to call specific attention to a couple of major donations. Union Chapel, and thank Union Chapel, donated $5,000 in cash, and Steve Jones donated a valuable tenor sax to our music program. So thank you for those, both of those donations. We have items A through G inclusive. Are there any other questions concerning those items? Okay, would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Becky, did you get those? Okay. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, Dr. Reynolds.
Great, thank you. Attached to item number 48 is a request to approve the Ivy Tech MCS dual credit agreement. Just a few things of note. We have additional courses this year for the Advanced Manufacturing, Automation, and Robotics pathway. That's in partnership with Purdue Polytech, Magna, and Mercix. Our welding technology, automotive technology, which is a new venture for us, a new partnership with Ivy Tech, and the Muncie Central High School dual credit English, where we have an adjunct professor that's also supporting those dual credit courses at Central High School. So I'm asking for a motion or for approval for the MCS Ivy Tech dual credit agreement.
Any questions for Dr. Reynolds regarding the dual
Yeah.
credit?
Do we do this annually? I don't recall, or only when there's changes, or
Oh, this one is new?
it's new? Okay, all right, that's why. Thank you.
Any additional questions? Entertain a motion to approve. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, we'll show that passed. Dr. Reynolds, are you going to wrestle for us?
Well, we have a ring set up. You know, I'm a wrestling fan, so I could maybe commentate a few for you. I don't think I could wrestle anymore. So I was approached in winter from, it began with the high school wrestling coach, Mr. Bradley, about the possible consolidation of our middle school wrestling programs into one middle school wrestling program. At the time, both were struggling with numbers and to provide a full team, a full roster of students. And if you look in that attachment, you'll see those numbers. But they were struggling to find a full roster of students at either school. They were struggling with coaches. And that middle school tended to seem to be a breakdown from a good vertical articulation in our program. We have a good feeder system that Mr. Bradley helps support. That's farmed out of Southside. But that middle school, we were just really struggling with numbers and getting consistency in that coaching staff. So AJ, along with the middle school coaches, ADs, and the principals got together and had some conversations about the opportunity of consolidating that program, like our wrestling and our football like our swimming and our football program, to one middle school program so it could be more competitive. You see there's a number of rationales, just kind of the overview of the program. Middle schools generally compete in 21 weight classes. That's a lot of middle school kids to fill out a team. So I think typically they were starting with 14 or 16 kids. So just weren't able to fill out a full roster and be really competitive. So the intent is to make the recommendation is to consolidate that to one middle school team to provide a good quality growing experience at the middle school level. It's not cost savings. It's not really saving us any cost. We're able to utilize the transportation that we already provide for our swimming team to get kids from north side to south side. South side being the most recently used high school has a dedicated room with quality mats and on the floor and the walls to provide a good, safe environment for our kids and large enough to house all of those kids for a full team. So the recommendation tonight is that we consolidate that our middle school wrestling program into one middle school wrestling program.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Reynolds. Any questions? Okay, hearing no questions, would entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Okay.
Second.
We'll show Mr. Heater with the motion, Mr. Lowe with the second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The back-to-school teacher contract is in your materials. Is anyone presenting on that? I think it's the same.
Brad has a memo.
Brad has it.
Yep, presented in your board packet is the back-to-school teacher store. That agreement was given to us, and they just needed that approved for annually. The representative did come and speak to us a year ago, if I recall. This year, we have revised it downward just because the number of eligible staff members were lower. That's why we've lowered the number slightly from a year ago. If you approve this agreement, it certainly allows the instructional staff of Muncie schools to be able to participate and go to that particular store and have access.
Okay. Any questions for Brad? Would entertain a motion to approve the agreement that's in your packet.
So move.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. The Career Ladders Grant, Dylan.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Dylan.
On February the 25th of 2020, two representatives from NIET, it was Tangela Sims and Vicky Candeleri, presented NIE information. And as you recall, that was at Grissom Elementary School. And they did maybe a 15-20-minute presentation. Since that time, NIET has supported us tremendously. They've assisted with the master and mentor teacher selection process and the 7-day core leadership training. In your packet, you have several documents pertaining to NIET. Let's look at the NIET statement of work. It's also on the screen. NIET will provide 30 days of follow-up support, which will include learning walks. The follow-up support visits will include PD for the ILT, which is this name for the instructional leadership team. That's our school administrators. That's our mentor teachers and our master teachers. We have 6, 1 at each elementary building, master teacher, and 6 at the secondary building, meaning it's 2 for North Side, 2 for South Side Middle School, and 2 for Central. And for mentors, we have 2 at each elementary building for a total of 12. And then we have 4 at each of those 3 buildings for a total of 12. And so the follow-up support will be with the, you'll hear these acronyms quite a bit, these initials, ILT, the instructional leadership teams. And they will provide support for classroom evaluation and observation support, feedback and support in planning weekly professional learning sessions. And with the assistance of NIET, the master and mentor teachers will model classroom instruction, co-teach, and co-plan with classroom teachers. Okay, so what are learning walks? Learning walks are brief classroom observations focused on specific needs. For example, they may go into the classrooms, and this is the ILT, along with the NIE rep, Tangela Sims, is the one who works closely with us. And it may be checking for understanding, and it could be, they're doing thumbs up, meaning they understand, thumbs down, don't understand, thumbs sideways. As a matter of fact, we use a technique during the training that we had in July, the 7-day training, because we had some veteran teachers, master teachers, They had to have at least 5 or more years of highly effective evaluations, along with our mentor teachers that had to have at least 2 years of highly effective. And we had some folks say, oh, you're going too fast with the training. And then we had some people to say, well, oh, you're going too slow with the training. So we developed right on the spot, just gave everybody construction paper, and it was through WebEx. We had a combination of right there in the classroom training, and then we had where the teams got on a WebEx as we did the training at Southside Middle School. And so they just, they put up a green construction paper if we were on target with how fast we're going. And then they put up a yellow one if they wanted us to slow down. And so it was a learning process for us as well. And it was good modeling for what we want to see in some of the classrooms as far as instruction is concerned. During learning walks, ILT members and our NIET senior specialists will collect classroom data and observe student learning. In July, the ILT, that's where we did the 7 days of training. And it was intense. And our master and mentor teachers said they had never gone through anything as rigorous, even when it came to the selection process. They said it was something, it was such a learning process for them because it was very rigorous. And also, when it came to the 7 days of training, it's not what, I've been in Muncie Community Schools for 21 years, and it's really the most training I've ever had when it comes to curriculum and instruction. Before, it's mainly, getting an evaluation tool, learning how to use that, but this really centered on curriculum. And so I just really think that, just based on the feedback we got from the mentor teachers, the master teachers, administrators, that this is going to be a great process and it's going to do what we need for it to do, which is to support our teachers. So with all of that said, at this time, I am asking permission for the board to approve support provided to teachers and administrators by NIET in the area of professional development and training.
Okay, any questions for Ms. Phelps? To remind the board and the public, this program was selected by the system after reviewing a number of those similarly situated, and it is also being largely paid for by the Career Ladders Grant that Dr. Kwiatkowski and the administration was successful in securing. So we're pleased with that.
It's a 3-year.
3-year program, right? Okay.
I just had a technical question. There were
Sure.
2 different amounts. There was 101,000 in 37 days and 123,000 in 45 days. Is that right?
That's a great question. We were at first given an invoice, if you may, of 123,000. However, once I talked to Dr. K, met with Dia, we found out that some of that had already been paid for.
Okay.
And so what we ended up doing was changing that amount, and that's why the gentleman ended up sending us the invoice. It looks like this Appendix A for 101,750, but that's an excellent question from a banker.
Yeah, well, numbers, I get it.
So David, are you clear on that at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, that because of the.
Yeah, I
but
appreciate
wasn't
that.
sure, just wanted to make sure we knew what we were approving.
Okay. Any additional questions or comments or concerns?
Would it be possible to maybe bring these master and mentor teachers to be recognized at a board meeting? Maybe not all together so that we could still socially distance a few at a time, because it sounds like they've put in some serious work and deserve to be recognized.
I would love to hear from them.
Just to see who they all are, recognize them.
And I would like to hear a little bit more about it. It's difficult given, again, the circumstances we're under to go and observe it, and I don't know that that's necessarily conducive to people being relaxed, but hearing a little more about it, I would love to. So,
Absolutely. We have some great teachers that'll be happy to do that. And
Okay.
again, they said that it's so rigorous that they have learned quite a bit over the 7 days and even before then.
Do you know, Brittany, when we have, every month, we'll have one or two of our schools come and present. Maybe we could just ask them also to have their masters and mentors, and they could do a little bit. And that way, throughout the year, you can hear from all the schools. And every month, they're going to keep learning and growing. And so you may see how things evolve throughout the year as well.
Great idea.
okay. Any additional questions, concerns, comments? Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Mr. Jerome.
Thank you. This is the part of the meeting you have in your board packet. This is considered the 2021 budget public hearing. Just to give you a brief summary of that, what we have done, we have asked the school board for permission to advertise the budget. That was back on August 11th. We did advertise it in the state gateway system plus our school district website on August 12th and August 13th. And tonight being August 25th is the considered the budget public hearing. September 8th, we'll do budget adoption. So at this time, the presiding officer just asked the public if there's anyone that has any comment about the 2021 budget.
Okay. With that introduction, does anyone have any comment concerning the published budget? This is your opportunity to be heard. Hearing no comment, seeing no comment. At this point, we will
Move on.
we'll bring the public hearing to an end.
That's correct.
Okay. Financial report.
The last thing that I have for you is the July financial results from July of 2020. Obviously, just 2 weeks ago, we presented the budget information and permission to advertise meeting. That was for about a 6-month look for the last part of this year and 12 months for 2021. Where I'm talking about tonight, what's included in your packet, is just some highlights for the month of July 2020. We're still receiving our state basic grant. I always like to mention that. That's always a good thing. Our enrollment is not finalized yet, of course. As you've heard much conversation, the state of Indiana is still determining if they will have an official count day in September or not. So those numbers are still potentially fluctuating for us up and down. We did not make any long-term debt payments in the month of July. Still looking to be in a surplus position at the end of this year. With our cash position in the month of July, June and July of 2020, the month of July, we have started paying back our state $12 million loan. We've now paid back a little over $100,000 towards that state loan. These last 6 months of 2020, we pay $300,000 is the scheduled amount that we have to pay. It's deducted from our state basic grants. Always like to mention that we're starting to eat back into that payment, so that'll continue to reduce that amount. We did finish the month with over $26 million in the bank, and obviously we're still working towards the end of the year. That's when you take the snapshot of your ending cash at the end of December. The month of July is typically always your high. June and July are typically your high cash balances because we have received some of our local property taxes, and because of the delay in property taxes of when people had to pay, we actually received property taxes. We received an early draw in May, we received an installment in June, and we got some in July. So that was, normally you just get it in May and June. This year we did get some in July. It's still too early for me to tell you if people have, what proportion or what percentage do we think we're going to get by the end of the year. We just keep estimating a little over 52 or 53% of the total levy. So it's too hard to tell if that's going to change much. We still expect the tax cap this year to be a little over 9.7 million. And I spent some time 2 weeks ago talking about the tax caps, and that's available to all the local property tax owners. So
The draws that we received in May, June, and July, in looking at the cash balances compared to the prior year,
Yeah,
look not as far off as I might have expected.
right.
Is that accurate? Am
Yeah,
I-
that's a very good point. When I look at that, the net cash without the loan, you'll see those peaks last year were May, June, and July. And May, June, and July again this year were the highest peaks on the cash balance. So that reflected, once again, very consistent with last year, that we're not necessarily burning cash or eating into the cash balance based on operations in the education fund. So that's still a very positive trend.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Jerome? At this point, would entertain a motion to approve the financial report.
So
Mr. Heater has moved. I will second it. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Dialogue. Couple things. First, coming off the NIET presentation and also thinking about all the hiring that has had to occur, I want to take this time to recognize Dylan Phelps and the work that she has done this year. We are in an amazing position compared to where we were in the fall of 18, as I recall, trying to hire. I remember hiring into early September. And so thank you so much for the work you've done. And then segue into Dr. Reynolds, who has been thrust into overseeing what he has included in his text is the VLP program, which it took me about 10 minutes Friday to sort that out. So thank you. I do think what I discussed with the library, I don't want to get out in front of it, but thinking about how we're going to support some of these kids that are not going to get it. Then to all of you, again, we'll knock on wood here. We have done remarkably well in this, our third week of school, with our handling of COVID. Now, we've had our first case, and there were, some blips there in how we notified students who were needed to be quarantined. That has been addressed. Dr. K and I have discussed it. But when I compare how MCS has done to some of our adjacent districts, I'm very proud of the work that all of you have done in terms of handling what is by any stretch an unprecedented situation. And God willing, we'll continue to have good fortune with avoiding as much as possible the illness that's among us. And then finally, I believe do we have a football game this Friday?
Away.
Away?
Mhm.
Okay, where is it?
Yorktown.
Yorktown.
Am I right? Yorktown.
Okay, so,
Oh, you guys would know for sure. Okay.
so Watasha, how early do we have to get there to be in the first 250?
They are only giving Muncie Central so many tickets.
Mhm.
So, I can't speak for the general public. I just know that each
Mhm.
parent, each player got one ticket. And then, Yorktown has free reign and whatever's left, so I can't.
So you've got one ticket for your family?
I just happen to be on the school board.
So you got a
So
ticket?
I've got a couple. Tom, thank you, Tom Lyon.
So do you mind if I address that a little?
No, please.
Every athletic director had to, if you want to have more than 250 people at any gathering, so that's not just fans, that's also includes players and coaches, you have to submit a proposal to the Department of Health. And so I'm sure that every school district's plan might look slightly different, but Tom Lyon has submitted our plan, and it's on our website under reopening that we have our athletic plan approved for when we have our first home football game.
Did he add, and the purpose of this question will become clear in a minute. Did he add more porta-johns to his?
Yes, he
Okay.
did.
I reviewed that and I said, this is clearly not enough Porta-Johns. So that's what I've been reduced to is Porta-John management. Thank you again, as I said earlier, to all of you. It's been a humbling night. Any additional thoughts or questions?
Just two questions. Enrollment, we didn't talk about that yet, and I know there's no official count yet, but how do we feel about that?
Enrollment is very good.
Okay.
We are doing very good.
Good.
And we're still picking up students, as has been
As
the
always
case.
been the case, yeah.
But, you know, if you will look at Brad's financial report that we just went over regarding ADM counts, we're doing very well.
Good.
By next Friday, I went in an update. I'll give you a better number. We still are working with our virtual learning program. They had to families filled out a job form, and then they had to get into Power School. And sometimes they filled it out, wanting to make sure that they were entered. They filled it out multiple times. So we're still cleaning up some of that. And by Friday, I'll be able to have very, very accurate numbers.
I know it's fluid. I don't care about the exact number, but just.
Accurate enough to give you confidence in it.
Yeah, we have not seen a drop off. In fact, and I guess I kind of expected one, and we're picking up students daily, including today.
Great.
Dr. Reynolds, band, I meant to ask, did we figure out how, using assistance from Ball State and others, do we figure out how to get those kids into at least some practicing and playing?
Yep, absolutely. We worked with Ball State. I think our choral program worked with Ball State, and we used some of that language from the Ball State marching band, some of their plans. We're purchasing some music supportive face masks, which are face masks with a little slit in them, that will allow folks to play their instrument and to cover their nose at the same time. Some flute shields. I know all about flute shields now. That's new, something new.
Okay.
So yeah.
And it's my understanding that we continue to make progress on the MAC, and that continues with the contractors to move along apace. Dylan, principals, teachers, how are they doing? Everybody doing okay?
They are doing fine. Matter of fact, some are saying the students have been so good and, ready to learn. And I was able to get to opening day to several of the buildings. And it was almost scary walking into Southside Middle School. And people came up to me, social distance, mind you, and the teachers were saying how this was such a great start. Some things that they have put in place because of COVID, they would like to continue. The entrances, maybe they're going 4 different entrances instead of everybody coming in at one time. Students are going straight to a classroom instead of gathering all together in a cafeteria, where sometimes something they said on social media gets said and repeated. And they said this has been probably the best start that they've had.
Okay. Any additional questions?
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I see Jason Newman sitting back there. And I was just curious as to how your start has been.
We started last week. Our numbers are down a little bit, but we expected that, and we kind of limited our numbers anyway so that we could see children safely. We are looking at alternative space for some of the overflow, but much like the schools, I mean, you can see the smiles on the kids' faces even through the maze.
Okay.
But it's been an amazing start to the school year. Communication with the school has been going well. We made it through the first half day. We were able to get everybody picked up. And the virtual learning, we do have some of our kids that we're trying to help kind of via Zoom right now, and we are working on some other things to deal with some of the questions of that, but we'll know about that. But it's been going very smoothly, and it's thrilled to be back.
Good. Let us know if there's anything, Jason, from our perspective as a board that can make your job a little bit easier.
We appreciate the work you do because it's important.
anything additional? Anything additional? Okay, would entertain a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjourning signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. We'll stand adjourned.
Congratulations, James.
Mr. Love, were you the second? Were you the second on that?